Welcome to HeartTube. My name is Jim Putnam. In this video, we're giving away bulbs. Color Blends sent us a lot of daffodils and species tulips and several other things, and we've decided to not only do them, plant them in our garden here in Raleigh, North Carolina, but in several friends' gardens as well, including this landscape job that we did earlier this year. I still haven't put the last piece of this video up, actually. But things are looking pretty good. There's a few weeds here or there in this that need to be taken care of, and a little bit of mulching that'll need to be done in the spring. But otherwise, this 4-part series, if you've watched any of this at this point, all the plants look great. Everything that was, Steph designed this, and we installed it together in the video series, and it looks great out here. We've come back to give our friend some of the bulbs that we have. We're going to plant a couple different daffodils here. Both of these are good for the south. Daffodils in general are probably one of the best bulbs for the south because they don't need as much cold during the winter time. And so that's one of the things we're concentrating on this year, is using bulbs that don't need a lot of chill hours. So we're playing Santa, and I'm going to put some pink charm daffodils in this spot. This one will get maybe 15 inches tall, something like that. And it's one of the best pinks for the south. I'm going to pull this mulch back. You're going to see another video where we talk more about, or I talk more about bulbs, bulb maintenance, that kind of thing, after you've seen this video. So if I miss something here, it's coming up in another video. But this mulch is still so chunky, I don't want it falling down in the hole. A lot of different ways to put bulbs in the ground, and I talk about that in a video that you're going to see after this one. That makes a lot of sense, right, Jim? That you'll do that after this one. But I'm using this Pro Plugger because I'm going to other people's houses. I didn't want to plug something in or take my electric drill and whatever. It's just this tool works fantastic for planting bulbs. There's a limit to the size of the bulb. It'll dig a hole. I don't know if this is maybe 2 inches across at the bottom, and it kind of fits perfect. I'm going to pour some out here so I can grab them easier. But you can see it's about the perfect size for that bulb. And literally all I do is take this, step down. We improved this soil quite a bit, and it had been mulched for a long time and mulched pretty deep. And so that deep mulching had improved this soil quite a bit. But you see the perfect hole that thing digs, and then I just put the pointy end up on the bulb down in the hole. These need to be about 3 times deeper than the height of the bulb, and so the soil goes right back in there just like that, and it's done quick and easy. I'll put them about 6 inches apart. This tube is tapered down here at the bottom, and I'm pulling a plug out about that long. This tube will store the pieces that I take out. If it's heavy clay, a lot of times that bottom one won't immediately come out. So at our house, I can just dig one hole and then flip it over, and that slug will just slide right out into the hole. Here, there's a little more clay down at the bottom of the hole. So if I dig 2, I get one up here where it's loose. I push the soil up here, and that second one will fall out. This is what I'm saying right here. So I'll dig 1 hole, and when I flip it over, that slug doesn't want to come out because it's stuck from the clay. You see that? But if I dig a second one like this, that first one will come right out. You see how that just worked? So that's that's how I do that when I can't get the soil just to fall out. So stick a bulb in there, put that plug over the top, tamp it down. They'll just get watered in lightly. But so I'm just always 1 hole ahead now. I'm going to put about maybe 9, 10, 11, 12 bulbs in here, something like that. Putting them about, varying a bit. There's no pattern to this. I want no pattern. It's one of the main points of landscaping for me, is to try not to have a pattern if I can. Mulch goes back in place, and that's that, right? Just rake it off the sidewalk, and These bulbs have all they need. They don't need any fertilizer. They don't need anything. They got all they need for the spring. We'll be here in the spring doing a little bit of maintenance, and at that time we'll fertilize the entire garden. Next up is one called Gigantic Star. Again, these are big, beautiful bulbs. This is a really, really big, bright yellow. Where we're putting these, there's the parking pad up here at the top. We showed in that walkthrough videos, if you want to go back and watch those landscape videos for this project. This little spot up here at the top of these steps happens to face east and kind of south. And so these blooms, that's where the daffodil blooms are going to point always, is toward the south during the winter time, because that's when they're blooming in February. So anybody walking by here, these are going to point right at them. It's something you probably need to think through a little bit with daffodils. They will turn their backs on you if they'll face south and slightly east of south. So this is absolutely the perfect spot. A lot of mulch up here. And so again, I'm going to anytime you can rake something upward, do it. Anytime you're shoveling, some of this is going to come down the hill, some of it's going to go up the hill. But anytime you're shoveling a hole, think about putting the soil above your feet if you can, because when you go back to put it back in place, it's much easier to pull it down the hill. But I'm going to put, again, these about 6 inches apart. This is a really easy digging spot. I'm going to put these about 6 inches apart, putting about 10 in this space. There's a little bit of rock down at the bottom where some brick construction was done at one time, but quick and easy. I talk more about this Pro Plugger in the other video that's coming up. You can use it for smaller bulbs. Maybe even in this video I'll show it off. But it digs pretty much the perfect hole for certain size bulbs. There are bulbs that are bigger than this tool won't work for. And then again, I'll use a shovel, drill bit. Got all kinds of implements of destruction, landscape implements of destruction that I can use for that. This is not all we're planting at any of these places you're going to see. We're just going to show you some of our playing Santa Claus here. So there you go. I'll firm that in. Pull that mulch back over the top. It's like we're never here. This will get mulched again in the spring. Hopefully that'll continue to take care of some of these weeds, weed pressure over time. But there you go. Water it in. It's done. Got a variety called Hawera at another friend's house. You guys have seen a tour of this house. This one has a path around the house. I think I've shot this one, shot a video here a couple times at this point. It's really a great designed, small, urban landscape. This Hawera Daffodil is a dwarf, stays small. This one's good for naturalizing along a path. And so this is nothing but paths in this garden. It's a path all the way around. Not a lot of sun here, but sun at the right time of year. So these daffodils will do great here. These are dwarf, and the bulbs are very, very small. And so I'm not going to use the Pro Plugger for this. I'm actually just going to dig a trench and place the bulbs pointy side up and cover it. His soil, look at his soil. This is what happens when you keep something covered in organic material for a long time. Right here. You see this? There are some roots in here from some shrubs and trees and that kind of thing, but look how easy this is. This takes a long time though. This isn't like overnight. This doesn't happen. Especially in a city like Raleigh here, it's mostly clay soils. If I go down another 6 or 8 inches, for sure I'm gonna find lots of clay here. This drains well, another consideration for your bulbs. And I'm just digging a spot where I can put them down about 3 times their height, and I'm gonna try not to make it look like I'm gonna make it a point. I'm gonna make it a shape here that's not a square. So my tendency, like anybody else, would be to put them in a perfect rectangle here. and I don't want to do that. So I'm gonna make it go back further in the back right there. So there you go. Root competition and stuff like that's not a problem for daffodils. So I'm just gonna dump some out here. Maybe that's probably too many. And then we'll just stand them up in the trench. These can go much closer together than the other ones. Tiny little daffodils, really. We're going to do this in a few spots in these gardens. Not show you all of it, but it's good to duplicate something like this, so it looks like you had a plan. If you have a rotten one, which is always possible, you don't want to plant that in with them. Okay, I believe all those are standing straight up. Pro tip: make sure you drop your soil straight down on them. Okay, don't rake the soil in from the side, or you'll knock the bulbs over. If you get them all covered slightly, just like that, and then you can pull the soil in after that. That way you won't knock them over. And then we'll get in here with a shovel, clean this off. I mean a broom, clean the edge of it up here. Take these roots out and tamp this down, water it in, and they've got all they need to bloom. So this is our Thanksgiving gift to some friends that we are thankful for. Let's jump to another one. At another friend's house, and you guys have seen this garden many times on the channel. I did a recent kind of walkthrough video with a stabilizer here. This is a pretty amazing garden. It's divided into rooms. So I would definitely recommend going back and looking at this design if you haven't seen it. He uses the city's leaf mold to mulch out here, and he has built soil that's really, really great from that. He's got some peonies, which are on the way to going to sleep up here, and so I'm going to plant a few of these Erlicheer daffodils around them, and so they'll be asleep when these are blooming, and then they'll wake up and just partly cover up these daffodils at that time. Erlicheer has multiple flowers on each stem, kind of a medium-sized grower, and it's fragrant with double flowers that are yellow and white. This is a really great daffodil, not the most cold tolerant of the daffodils. Good sized bulbs here again. So I'm going to use the Pro Plugger. Some of these are actually dividable. They're so big. That's how those bulbs are divided. But again, great soil. Using the Pro Plugger, dropping the bulb in the hole. This one I can just immediately flip over and bam. I'm going to put maybe 5 or 6 on this side. And 5 or 6 on that other side, and that'll be it. Look how easy it is. When your soil, once your soil gets to a certain spot, but it does take years. I mean, he literally goes to the dump here in Raleigh and buys the leaves that everyone else throws away, and that turns this soil into. But you can see, down under that, it's solid clay. And I'll just do that. He'll mulch during the winter when his perennials are down, and that'll be a perfect layer over the top of these. I probably didn't go down deep enough with that one, but it'll be fine when he mulches over the top of it. So there's 5 on this side, and I'm gonna do the same. We're gonna go to a few other friends' houses as well, but the sun is running us off the filming. It's a beautiful bright blue sky here in the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, so as we're going around playing Santa with bulbs, we're just going to do it without a camera going forward. The last one I'll show you going in the ground here are one of these species tulips. We have several species tulips. There'll be a video from the house with several of these going in. These are more reliable here for us in the South. This one's called Tubergen's Gem. It gets about 8 to 10 inches tall. It looks like it's going to be red. It's like a scarlet red bud, and then that opens up to bright yellow on the inside, and the red stays there. So it's a really interesting two-tone bulb. The bulbs are very small, so I just dig a trench like you saw me do with that very small daffodil over at the other house, and place them just a few inches apart, pointy end up, pretty obvious on these, which end goes up in the ground, tamp it down, water it in, and kind of walk away from these. I did refrigerate them because I wanted them to be really reliable this first year, 100%. And if we get any reasonable cold going forward, they will naturalize here in zone 7B or 8A where we are. They're party in zone 3 to 8 typically. So thank you guys very much for watching us play Santa this morning. I wish I would have gotten a little more of it on film, obviously, but it is a beautiful, like I say, it's a beautiful day, and you can still see bananas back here behind me. We got bananas going off at the same time Rob's camellia collection is opening up. We've had a few cold nights, but not enough yet to really shut the gardens down completely. Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for watching.